Hello.
Babies?
How's it going?
Good.
Welcome to our first ever Truth Talk Tuesdays.
Yay! Truth Talk Tuesday. I like the sound of that.
Changing
It's
it
so
up
much
a little.
easier to get to Tuesday.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, lots of people too on the weekends, they're, going out and being social and doing stuff like that. So I think a nice Tuesday evening with us ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming home from work, you go to work in the morning, it's dark and rainy. You come home from work in the evening, it's dark and rainy.
Yeah.
I just need some sunshine on this body.
Yeah.
Need to go away.
It's coming.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And at least this
How's
way,
everybody out there in Facebook land? I'm assuming most of our viewers are coming from Facebook, but let us know how you guys are doing tonight too. We're just gonna shoot the tea.
Yep, exactly. For sure. Well,
Awesome.
we see Rafael, greetings from Mississauga. Hey.
Hi, Rafael. Thanks for joining us.
So sometimes too, things come in delayed on our end, just so everybody who's watching knows. So if you are typing in comments and stuff like that, sometimes it takes a little bit to pop up. So what's cracking, ladies?
Oh, where do we start again this week?
I know.
Right? It always seems like there's something, but in all honesty, at this point in the game, none of it bothers me. I'm not worried. We are so much more powerful than the stupidity that's coming in from leadership. What I mean? How?
Yeah.
I want to panic. A part of the old me, a part of me wants to panic and be like, oh, they're going to kill us all. No.
Yeah, no.
I have no worries anymore. And maybe that's naive. I don't know, but there's so many of us, and the heart and the fight and the soul and the unification that I've seen. There's still stupid drama over here, but at the end of the day, everybody's heart seems to be centering around each other's for the common fight for good. And that is the silver lining I see every single day in my inbox, in my messages, everywhere, and it gives me so much hope. So, woohoo!
Not to strike out any fear porn or anything, of course, but it's just BC just seems to be a giant shit show these days. There's things that are happening. Vancouver, I mentioned to you gals just before we clicked on that there's apparently some crack cocaine / heroin safe business that's going to be opening up here in Vancouver now. It's an oxymoron.
But is that for climate change?
That's so people can manage with climate change, that's why they kept the liquor stores open, and you can go and get your edibles, when they shut everybody down for the co-flu. I mean, they want you to self-medicate. So, unfortunately, people are not hitting the ground as fast as they'd like. So, of course, why not just roll in narcotics and just, you can just like a 7-Eleven run through there, get your stuff, get some snacks.
Made 2.0.
Yeah.
It's gross. Anyways, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. I can see all your comments in there. What do you guys want to know tonight? Why don't you send us some questions and let's chat. Let's be interactive, ladies. This is different. I feel so weird being here on a Tuesday.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think usually it's the end of the weekend and stuff, so we're just gonna kick it off a little bit earlier. What we got going on? Jerry's with us. Chris, Aiden, Chrissy. Hi, Chrissy. Chrissy actually had a really great event this last weekend that Alicia and I went to. Their Fringe Farm. Have you heard about this, Amanda? The Fringe Farm?
Yes, I have actually. I was looking into it months ago, but
cool.
As of right now,
just a way to get out of the matrix, right? Just bringing together like-minded people where you can swap services, swap labor, maybe swap housing. So it's just a great way to connect with community. And they're trying to put pods all the way across the country and stuff. So he's one of their ambassadors in Vancouver. it was a really great turnout for that first event. So congrats to you, Chrissy, for pulling that off. It was excellent.
Yeah, we're super proud of our girl, actually. She did a really, really great job. There was quite a few people there, and, good people that are really, really wanting to, make sure every municipality has some structure. And from what I was told by Chrissy, is that there's a gentleman who started this. I believe he's from Nova Scotia. And he just decided, you know what? This is something I'm going to do, and it seems to have caught on in other provinces. So Chrissy's with a couple of other ladies, they're stick handling for the Lower Mainland. So really good for them.
That's amazing. So what does it consist of, though? For people that are watching that are like, oh, Fringe Farm sounds cool, but what does it consist of for people that want to kind of get into it a little bit deeper?
I think it's getting into a database. So they've got a website, and I'm sorry, Chrissy, if you want to plug it into the chats here, you can do that. But it's you go into their database, and then that way you're able to look up. It's like a phone book, right? Where you want to look up if you're certain services, and it's just a way for us to get out of this. If there's going to be a cashless society at some point, then we know that we can rely on people for services and trading. A lot of it has to do with the farms, obviously. So being able to get food from local farmers. Trading services for it potentially, and but I definitely recommend checking out the website, and I'm sure Chris will get it into the chat box here soon. So, and then just again a way just for everybody to communicate and connect, so you can look up what you're looking for. If you're looking up for accommodations, or you're looking up for labor trading, somebody grooms dogs and somebody else cuts hair. Well, you know what? Hey, let's swap services, and then we don't even have to worry about dealing with cash services and stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got anything like that out there, Amanda?
Pardon me?
Do you have anything like that out there?
We do. I don't think it has a name or anything yet. We just, at least in my area, I'm not sure outside of my area, because we all know I'm kind of grounded to my house for the last year. So our community is great. I live somewhere close to Aylmer, which, for those of you that don't know, is like Pastor Hildebrandt's area.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He's just an amazing human. That entire family is so amazing and welcoming and just so humble and heartfelt. And they have been fantastic for me here. And, and through that, the community has grown into so many, like, farmers markets and local bartering of vegetables and meats and dairy and stuff like that. So I couldn't be more excited about that, because we moved here and then chaos ensued, and then my dad got hit, as you all know, with the Pfizer vaccine with the 9 strokes, and I really haven't left the house in about a year, other than a couple hours to go grocery shopping here and there. So it's a shock to the system when
I bet.
keep boots on the ground, and you go from boots on the ground and getting into the middle of it to try and make a difference, to sitting back on the sidelines going, what can I do next? 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 Mm-hmm. So Danny's just asking me here if I want to touch on the film. Which film are you referring to, Danny?
I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about this. I did a little silent chat back in the background here.
Oh, no worries. No. We, you know what? I may not be able to get out into with boots on the ground very, very often, but it doesn't mean I'm going to sit back and let the world go to hell on my watch, because that's just not how I roll. So instead, we have decided to create a film that should be out sometime this year. I'm not exactly sure on the timelines and how that gets created or whatnot, but I'm learning a lot. And we're making a film on the medical corruption in Canada. People can understand and educate themselves as to when it started, what the history looks like, what the terms are they're being gaslit with, like Standard of Care Act, what that means for an adult, what that means for a child, because they're two separate things. One means you have no parental right. You get CPS. The other, you can come and go as you please. It's your call. Unless you have COVID, and then you have to deal with their protocol. So sorry, everybody. it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, that's something to look forward to. I'm excited about that. It's my first film project with Todd Harris, as most of you will know from Uninformed Consent.
Yeah.
He works magic. And I cannot wait. And the people that are in this film will blow your mind. They have something to say about this country, and it's gonna blow your mind.
Nice.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it. Looking
Well,
very,
you'll be
very
able to
forward
hear,
to
I
it.
hope.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. You just got to let us know. That's for sure. Let us know all the details.
I appreciate you. I think that's one thing that all of us have really done is like stretch ourselves outside of our box, where we're not. I think if you're still silent, you're part of the problem at this point. At this, like, if you're not speaking up, you're not doing as much as you can, you're not finding ways to push back. And there's so many different ways to push back, whether you're writing MLA letters, going to protests, starting a podcast, doing some sort of show, posting on social media, doing a film, Amanda, like that's a massive undertaking, undertaking. So,
well, you know what? We all wrote in that book,
The Brave
book, and never in my wildest dreams did I ever say,
Nope.
hey, I'm going to be an author. But once that kind of came out, I went, what's stopping me from doing anything? You know what I mean? And if it reaches just one person, I've done my job. If it opens the eyes and plants the seeds of the next layer of sleepers ready to wake up, I've done my job.
And in every area, right? Because it's like, the journey, I think about, like, and not to kick a dead horse, but starting, when my first sort of stand up was when I stood up for my son at school, and then it led to the hockey arena, and then it led to, businesses, and, you teach your kids these things. And when we push back, like, this is a multi-generational fight. And I heard David coin it that way. And it was like, this is a multi-generational fight. We cannot let our kids be complacent. Our parents' generation didn't do anything. There wasn't wars at that time that were, that they ever had to do anything or show us how to push back, or, even just on a school system, we see what they're teaching in the schools and the community centers and then the libraries right now. There was a protest that was over here last weekend, and, kudos to the few people that went out and, tried to push back on this, but we've got these people that are showing up that are literally pedophilic looking. If you know the symbols of what that looks like, there was one person, there's a picture that's going viral. I put it on my story yesterday, but, is this overweight, greasy man with pigtails and this rainbow, baby doll dress on and baby doll shoes and pantyhose on. And what he's got on is panda eyes. And if any of you guys have been down the child trafficking rabbit hole, you know that those panda eyes are from a really horrific situation that's happened to children, from blunt force that creates this piercing that goes on in their eyes. So when you see somebody that shows up like that, everybody's like, oh, support the LGBTQ. No. This is somebody who's showing you what they're into and what they're doing. And it's all, perpetrated all through our movie industries and everything else, because the follow-up picture that I did to that was Lady Gaga with her black panda eyes, that she was sprouting her outfit when she was at one of her last, one of her award shows a couple of years ago. It's all in your face, all of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's why now, like last show we talked about gays against groomers. There's also trans against groomers. Okay. So for anybody on here, and we're just going to, I think, have to talk as though hopefully we are going to have more and more new risers, new people who come on here and listen to, the topics we're talking about. And when it comes to panda eyes, that's something, if you guys don't know what that is, we all encourage you to look into it so that you understand what atrocity happens to a small child for them to be able to get those panda eyes. And when you see a gentleman like what we saw this weekend show up with makeup like that, he is literally showing those who are just like him, which is he's a pedophile. That's
Yeah.
what he is. And he's letting people know, exactly what he's into. Now, the issue is there are people in the gay community, in the trans community, and in the straight community. They don't know what that is. When they look at that, they're like, oh, he's got some, like pink makeup all the
That
way around his
eyeshadow.
eyes, right? It's eyeshadow. He's just dressing up. It's just part of the drag, the makeup. It's not. So I don't, whether you're straight, gay, trans, please look into what panda eyes are and watch for it, because the thing is they are trying on purpose. They have been like drooling at the mouth, just waiting to come in through your community, because they want to be able to, get away with what they want to do to small children. And your community is the only one that they can get through. So it's about educating. We all have to be students. We've said this a million times, but I'll always say it. We have to always be students and learn so that you can see the signs.
Yeah.
And aside from that, there is talking about Coquitlam. I don't know if anybody saw it, but if you saw, the people that were dressed in black had their faces covered. They were quite aggressive and in people's face. There is a group, and I don't know if people are familiar with it. If you aren't, please go and check it out. It's a website called antihate.ca. And
can I just add something really quick before you say this?
100%.
For those of you listening that don't know what this is, okay, this is a government-funded organization, straight from the top. This is from Trudeau, admittedly from his own mouth. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not one of our little link tree kind of things. This came from the top to shut down truth tellers in order to gaslight the main people. Now, this is getting to a dangerous level because we're winning, okay? Don't have any doubt about this. We are winning this. And you may only be able to see the doom and gloom, and I'm sorry for that if that's your stance. There are silver linings in everything. So many more people are aware. And it's just, I want you to kind of make it very simple for people so that they can pass it along to everyone else and know what to watch for, Alicia, because this is serious. This is like Soros-funded garbage. So break this down, tell people what they're looking for exactly. We'll get through the tactics. We'll write their book on how to identify and whatever else another day, but just get through that and let people know.
Well, I think the best thing for people, which we can throw it up here, Danielle, I don't know if you want to just quickly type this in so that we can put it across on the bottom. The website is www.antihate.ca. And I know this sounds lovely because, that's what we come from a place of love. We don't want hate either. But this is what controlled opposition does pretty much. And everything Amanda said about this was Trudeau funded. This is how it was birthed. So the best thing is, and this is what I can tell you. So to just give you an example, when you go on this website, they actually make announcements of what they intend on doing if they see any kind of freedom movement, protests, anything like that. And they try to use the same terms as Trudeau: racist, misogynist, homophobic, all of the above. So this weekend that just passed, they actually they fire out emails, and what they do is they tell people, okay, we need drag defenders. Saturday in Peterborough, in British Columbia, whatever's going on. Show up at the Coquitlam Library, and if you're not comfortable, don't worry, cover your face. It literally is giving instructions on how to dress, what to do. It's the whole Antifa. Think of it like that.
Antifa, plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So they give the locations, they give the times, they basically instruct you how to dress. And so I advise everybody to go onto that website and just constantly have a look and see what it is that these guys are up to, what they're also trying to Well, let's put it this way. The indoctrination on that website is absolutely insane, because it's like anything. They make everything look like it's all, sunshine and lollipops, like, they're the good guys, when really they're there to cause a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos
And violence.
and violence. And they're literally trying to, undermine anyone who's trying to, well, do things like protect children, really fight for autonomous rights, all the work that we've all been doing for these last few years. So yeah, definitely pay attention to this website for sure.
Yeah.
Just in thinking about all of this stuff, we know that this has been the last 3 years. This has been going on for generations before. Trafficking, the behind the scenes stuff that's been going on, it's all been going on for a very, very long time. It's just being exposed. And, light can't exist, or dark can't exist in light, right, Alicia? I mean, it's like what you said in your speech, one time there. And it's just, the thing is when you get to all of the bottom of all of these rabbit holes, they all link. And this is where I think we're starting to get to the point where the dots are so close, they're almost touching for people. And some of them haven't, but I think we're really on the brink of bringing all of these dots together. And it's like they've been after our kids with the whole vaccine mandates and stuff, and watching people like Willow that went through having your child taken away from you. You've got medical kidnapping that's happening out there. Mm-hmm. And so when you don't have a parent advocating for those children, then you've got now a child that's, a ward of the state. And that child is now susceptible and vulnerable to predators coming in. And we're seeing it in places where there's no places where there's parents where there's places where kids don't have parents advocating for them, whether it's in adoption agencies or the Amber Alert program. Was that Laura Silsbury that was taking kids across from the Clinton family in Haiti and whatnot? Like, all of these things lead back down to those rabbit holes of child trafficking. And then now how they're trying to attack our kids through, this grooming agenda that's happening, and the people that are coming in on the back end infiltrating the LGBTQ community. And massive kudos and shout outs to those that are speaking out against it, that are within that community, the gays against groomers and the trans against groomers, like you brought up, because there are people that are speaking out within that community that are, I don't know if you follow.
They're warriors.
So much so, right?
Warriors.
They recognize it's adult entertainment, right? And I was talking to my 96-year-old grandma about this yesterday, and I was kind of got into it with her a little bit. And I was saying, like, this is adult entertainment, Graham. Like, this is not just a place to go. Like, we've got on 14th and Lonsdale over here in North Vancouver, before Christmas time, it was actually the same person that was at this place in Coquitlam, where she was doing, instead of sitting on Santa's knee, you can go sit on a trans knee. This is adult entertainment. This is not child appropriate. And even my 96-year-old grandma, she goes, that's all I think about when I see them. It's adult entertainment, and it's not appropriate. Not appropriate.
100%. And keep in mind, you guys, pedophiles are bastardizing different organizations, different words that they're gaslighting. I'm not going to say our words, because that's just ridiculous. But like kindness, they're trying to use
manipulating the words,
manipulating heartfelt tactics in order to bastardize the narrative for whatever. But under
the umbrella of
ignorance.
acceptance.
They're betting on the stuff you don't know, right? I am a huge advocate for the LGBTQ plus everything. I go and live your life, love who you want to love. It's none of my business, and
or my children's business.
Or my children's
That's the point, right?
Listen, nothing sexually explicit is any of my children's business.
No.
Right? How their bodies work is their business. But learning how other people are engaged in sexual acts, that's none of the school's business. That's none of the pedophiles' business. That's none of the government's business. That's nobody's business but mine and my child when we go through the chat, Mm-hmm. I'm so fed up with the gaslighting. I think it's the gaslighting that gets under my skin the most, because it's so obvious. It's gross. you know, it's
Well, under the
simple.
umbrella of inclusion, they call it inclusion and acceptance.
Yes.
And if you aren't inclusive and you aren't accepting, then you're the problem. You're the misogynist. You're the racist. You're the this.
Right.
But nobody's open to having these difficult conversations. And even for a period of time, I have to say, I neglected bringing it up. I saw it from the very beginning, but I didn't bring it up for a long time because I was obviously going so far down the vaccine rabbit hole, and I didn't want to dilute that message initially. I didn't want to make people think like, sometimes when you see a lot of these, and I'm gonna sorry for the younger generation that is wide awake, but you see like this Gen Z where they're like literally advocating for every single thing. I didn't want to come across in that way where it was like I looked like I was, literally squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. But all of these rabbit holes, they all interlock, and it just got to a point where I thought, you know what, I can't be quiet about this anymore. It's too corrupt. It's messing with the kids. It's the next thing that is happening right now that they're gas to the floor on it, and we need to speak up because if we don't, we're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is so I watched this gentleman, and I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but I'll put in the comments when this segment is over, I'll actually put a link to his Instagram account. Anyways, he said something that just resonated with me, which was, everybody just loves to use labels now. It's all about labels. It's all about, oh, we lost Amanda. Oh, no, she's coming back in.
I can't find the camera.
What?
I don't know where it went.
What happened? Oh, there she is. There she is. Anyways, he's an entrepreneur. He's very successful, but the way he views life, I resonate with a lot of the things he says. And one thing that he said today was, everybody in, this time they love their labels. It's all labels. It's all this, the he, him, she, her, they, them, all that kind of stuff. And he goes, literally, our soul resides in a meat suit. This is a meat suit. And when our soul leaves our meat suit, all those labels mean nothing. They're literally irrelevant. And that's the thing here. It's like humanity really needs to lose all of those labels. We all bleed the same. We're all souls. And all of this kind of this intermediary stuff is irrelevant. This stuff is injected to separate us. That's all. Race, religion, genders, all of those things. They're meant to separate us from who we are supposed to know who we are. And so, it's one of those things where I just kind of look and say to myself, if the world could just release labels, we will get farther so much faster.
And Amy Lynn says, sexuality is personal. I don't feel the need to take part in someone else's self-image. She's 100% correct. 100%. Good comment, Amy.
You do you.
Just like, why is it anybody's business? I just can't comprehend. Like, it's like people that just can't find the scroll button on something they don't like on Facebook. You know what I mean? But you need my opinion.
Well, let's put it, let's put it this way. I'll tell you something. If a bunch of straight people were parading and wanting to talk about, what goes on in their bedroom all the time, and they want that to be okay to talk to children about all that kind of stuff, I mean, it would be a whole nother scenario here. So it's like the victimization of, any type of groups needs to stop. Ultimately, like, whatever you do as an adult in your private time should be private between yourself and the person you're sharing that with. It doesn't need to be out in the open, in the public, no matter whether you're gay or straight. It doesn't matter. It's, irrelevant.
Yep. 100%. 100%. It's crazy. This week feels like it's been a slow week though, with news for some reason. And I know it hasn't. Well, it just feels more calm this week. And I don't understand why it feels like that.
I think too, though, like literally every day, Amanda, does it not seem like you're seeing a new death that's either in journalism, in the media or in sports. Like I think there's been like 3 or 4 football players literally in the last week and a half or so. It just feels like every single day that there's Lisa Marie passed away, and again myocarditis and blood clots and strokes. It's just like literally every single day, and nobody's putting the dots together at this point.
Well, I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure maybe you did, but the CDC is launching an investigation in Pfizer now to see about strokes, which my dad suffered 9 of them, and he was a completely legendary, healthy dude. Like, he got a second shot and he dropped of 9 strokes. So I'm sure it's a coincidence. I'm sure it is. But it's cracking. The dam is cracked. It's not going back in. The genie's not going back in the bottle at this point. You're going to see an outpouring of information start to come through. And then all hell's going to break loose, because people that got fooled by this are going to be mad. They will be livid, and they can't undo what they've done. So it's going to be up to us to show compassion. And I know a lot of you struggle with that. But at the end of the day, we're here for each other. We're here to serve humanity and get through. And did they treat us the way they should have? Absolutely not. But that was government driven. That was, that was an anti-hate from the top movement before anti-hate became a population movement. So I hope you all reach into your hearts and just kind of hold your breath for now, but it's coming.
It's only exposed, right? Did you see the new Mr. Universe?
No, I don't acknowledge that.
Neither do I. In fact, and I have seen it, and I don't acknowledge that either.
Here's one for you. Go get a Mr. Universe.
Yeah, it's
right. If you can't win Mr. Universe, stay out of the Miss Universe, or create your own division. How's that? That seems fair to me.
There you go.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Women that have worked their asses off their entire lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like sports.
It's the same as sports.
Yeah, it's the same as sports. It's not. It's a competitive. It's all competitory. So at the end of the day, there should be some sort of you can't have trans men, trans women competing against opposite sex. Physiologically, we are built differently. I mean, that's just the facts. Okay, this is not about any of the nonsense. It's just it's the same thing. Same thing. So yeah.
Well, for those of you that didn't get to see it, you guys can close your eyes for a second, scroll by for a second, check out this little clip.
From now on, it's going to be ran by women, owned by trans women, for all women.
For all women.
Well, you don't speak for me, unfortunately.
Listen to
for
this.
all women really around the world to celebrate the power of feminism. The Miss Universe organization.
To celebrate the power of feminism.
I celebrate mine daily.
Oh, the irony.
I've got real parts.
See, but again, even the label feminism, everything is a label, right? That's the whole point of this is I just hope people start to really just walk through and see through that stuff. Everything is a label, and it's meant to trigger you, piss you off, make you upset, so you lash out at people, right? I mean, I love what Amanda said in the sense of just everybody try their best to be compassionate, with those who, have not treated you well, or even in these kinds of instances, because, ultimately, look, we all fought this hard because we all come from a place of love. We want to protect everyone, right? So we're at a place now where we're seeing horrific carnage happen around the world in all instances. And it's not a time to be like, see, I told you so, or you should have listened to me. Mm-hmm. It's not a time to be doing that. It's a time to, extend your hand and say, you know, I'm sorry that you're going through this, and you know, I'm here for you, regardless of the past, of the way you might have been treated. Because could you imagine being on the other end?
Right. And David here says, but some of these people wanted us dead. And yes, they did. But
I know.
I'm of the mindset now that the people that came into this awake within the first year and a half, 2 years, they were built for this. This was meant to teach us how to move forward, because they're not catching up with us, guys. They're not catching up. We're ahead. We're ahead by 2-3 years. Some of us more, you know, and that's on us to help guide them through to the next phases. These are the people that don't have the ability to pull themselves out of the dirt, so to speak. You know, God put us here for a reason. God put us here to serve other people. And if that's what we have to do, then we have to work through our own darkness to come out into the light and hand them a helping hand and pull them up. It's easier to hate them for hating you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't serve a purpose. And it only weighs heavier on your heart than to just forgive and let it go and move on. You know, if you don't want to be nice to them, don't be nice to them. I'm not telling you one way or the other. You're built the way you're built. But I do a lot of work to get through that anger and the death threats. Like, I don't know about you two, but I get death threats every week for myself, for my family, you know, for everybody. At this point, it's a joke. I picture this really big fat guy sitting in his mom's basement, chewing his pizza pop, screaming at him, going, right? That's what I picture. I don't care anymore. You know, you develop a thick skin, and there's a purpose for that. And the things that God has opened your eyes to see is part of your life purpose. So you need to figure out and navigate your way out of it, number one. But number two, how can you help navigate everyone else through it as well? Because it's going to be way better if we can take everybody with us and change this world for the better.
I honestly thought that by this point, you know, there would be more people coming around and saying, like, holy smokes, I'm sorry, I was wrong. You know, I didn't see it, I was duped. But people are not, they're not humbling themselves to that place. But you know, and you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their eyes, even like, you know, with that football player that died. You see those other football players taking a knee and crying. And I don't think, there's been, you know, different posts that have gone out. They're not crying just because they've lost their friend. They're crying because I think they're scared shitless about what's coming down the pipe.
Who's next?
Yes. They're like, they're all ticking time bomb.
But that's it too, right? They've got it. How can they turn around when they've been getting screamed at for 2 years by people like us? And I don't mean that in the general sense. I just mean it, hey, don't get it, we love you. They can't turn around. Their ego is still too big. They can't let go of that ego. And people need to let go of the ego. It's the ego that is killing everybody. We have to start coming from the heart. And remember, what's happened? Those connections have been broken way before this even started. They had us separated for, 6 feet? I don't know, because I never did it. But you know what I mean? And those heart frequencies radiate out 6 feet. So connections through socializations were broken. You know, and then you go straight from that into the vaccine. Then you've split people based on their medical choices, and now you can hate this person for not doing this, and this one's a disease-ridden sow, whatever you wanted to call them. You know, like, it's just been one thing after another. It's psychological warfare. So when you hear your conspiracy theory friends say psychological warfare, this is what it means. Look at how things have transpired through the last 3 years.
Yeah. So this is a really great comment, and I think all of us probably deal with this a lot. I know I was just on the phone with my girlfriend yesterday, and it was the first time that she, you know, got pretty emotional. And it is hard. It's very hard. You know, we all have family members that have taken this thing, and all we can do is surrender to, you know, two things. One, that their life path, whichever it is that they've chosen, is predetermined, and pray. Pray for them, right? Pray that they're going to make it through this. Pray that they'll open their eyes and not take anymore. Just that's all you can do, and to actually just be there for them and listen to them instead of verbalize to them. Just that's, I think, the hard thing for a lot of people is people's pride too. They may realize that they've made an error, and it's their pride that doesn't want to admit it, because they don't want to have you look at them and say, you see, I told you so, and now look. Instead, the best way that we can, love everybody is to love everybody and not make them feel like they're being demonized for,
Their choices.
their choices. And just, listen, nobody likes to feel that they got duped. Nobody does. To be tricked. I mean, in, personal relationships throughout your life or whatever, if a good friend lies to you, a boyfriend or girlfriend, cheats or whatever, nobody likes to feel like you've been lied to, right? And we have to come from that place.
Yeah.
God knows we've been in a massive abusive relationship with our government for how long now. And there was a video that I posted on December 17th, and it was Dr. Makis speaking. And he actually had a number of different remedies that he felt would help people who had taken the jab. And I didn't realize it was actually available in a supplement, one of them. One thing I actually used to sell, it was called serapeptidase. So if you're familiar with that, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. Best way to describe it, it's a silkworm enzyme. And so what it does is it eats away at dead tissue and inflammation. It doesn't touch the live or the healthy cells. So it's a really great way to just, it's like taking an aspirin a day, but without any of the side effects on your liver. So I know that was a really good one. And then the other one that Dr. Makis mentioned was nattokinase, I think it's called. And this is a picture of it, anybody wants to see. And so I know that there's been a lot of people reaching out to me on that video, just, wanting to know what the products were again, and what they can do to help their family members. And those are two of the remedies that Dr. Makis talked about. And again, you can see that video on my feed from December 17th. So if you want to go back and you can explain it a little bit more. I think there was one other supplement that he had as well, but really, really great feedback and for anybody that's looking for some remedies.
Yeah. And also for anybody who has taken this injection, there are 2 tests that you can take, and you should. And this is to just keep an eye on your body and what it's doing, which is number 1, a D-dimer. That will show if you have any microclotting. And number 2 is a troponin test. And that basically will test the troponin levels inside your heart for asymptomatic myocarditis. So these 2 are really, really important for anybody who's taken this jab, to just go and if your GP won't send you for it, go to a naturopath. They can still send that for you. That's if it were me and I took the jab and didn't realize and woke up much later, these would be the things that I would definitely be doing, whether it's annually, just to make sure that I'm good. And if I'm not, then there's ways that you can tackle some of this stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Speaking of detox protocols, have you seen our buddy Judy Mikovits has been putting out a bunch of detox stuff? Maybe we should be calling her back and doing a show for us again.
Oh, 100%.
I've got a phone call to chat with her tomorrow morning, actually. What do you want me to ask her to come on? I'm happy to do so.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's her and another doctor, and I can't remember her name right now, but but they're doing a detox course.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. Can you, Danielle, Rafael wants you to write down Alicia, the 2 tests. One was a D-dimer and the other one was what?
Troponin. I can type it in here for you guys.
Well, I wanted to tell you as soon as you mentioned D-dimer. So
yes,
I get Dad's D-dimers done regularly, right? Through his blood work and whatnot. We have the people that come out to the house and do it. So all of a sudden, switch into 2023, and now they don't want to do D-dimers in the house, and they're blaming it on not being able to get it to the lab fast enough, which is a load of crap. So then we said, okay, well, we'll take the blood ourselves and we'll rush it down to your lab so it gets there no, we can't do that either because we have to send it like that. And I'm like, that's a lie. That's a lie. It goes to the hospital right there. Lie, lie, lie. Anyways, so now tomorrow I have to get my dad out of this house. I don't have a wheelchair van. Keep that in mind. So I have to get out of the house, get him into a cab. I'm so stressed out about this because we don't do outings. We don't have the means to do it. So it's crazy. And get him to go do the D-dimers in the lab. But they even fought us on that because people know to ask for it now. They're trying to get rid of it. So be very aware.
Are you surprised? It's because the more people figure out what to do in the sense of post-jab, because they want to monitor themselves, the government's like, oh no, we need to start cutting that off. Because I hate to say this because we don't want any of the jab to be fearful, but the goal of this global government and the elites, they are trying to wipe people out. That's the reality. That's just the truth. We can't sugarcoat the truth. So they want to take stuff like this away because they don't want people to be able to check their troponin levels. They don't want people to be able to check if they've got microclotting, right? They just hope that people
to ask for their own testing and understand what that means.
Absolutely. I mean, the sky's the limit with, what these guys want to just remove from humanity so that they don't have access to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're going to lose.
They've already lost. They've already lost, right? It's just they're going to fight kicking and screaming, but at the end of the day, they've already lost.
The human spirit is so much stronger, and I think that's the reason why it's so important to take off the rose-colored glasses, is because when you actually take away those glasses and, keeping your head buried in the sand, you're not saving yourself. When you actually have awareness of what's going on, when you look at these things, whether it's anything from the trafficking or to looking down the doctor's rabbit holes, the ones that are speaking out, the ones that have nothing to gain from what's happening here, that's when you can actually start to make improvements to have a long, healthy life, keeping your immune system strong. If you're just going to carry on like you've always carried on, then yeah, you potentially could have a ticking time bomb in you. But get yourself healthy, do some detox, take the I can't remember the name of what was there, and the serapeptidase, taking vitamin C on a regular basis, vitamin D, zinc, that whole vitamin protocol. Take a round of ivermectin. There's places that you can still get that. So, all of these things can actually help you, but as long as you're keeping your head buried in the sand, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for anybody.
Well, yeah. Were we talking about this last Friday we were on, but somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had mentioned, the people that aren't awake, they like to sit back and say that they're banking on kindness. They're just kind people. They're not going to, stir the pot or anything like that. But their kindness related with quietness. So, no, you were saying that they were awake, but they were too kind to speak out. That doesn't work anymore. Now we're at a point where it's not the parents that need to keep fighting, but now we have to teach our children the skills it's going to require to move forward from this point. So when we do come out of this in black and white, I don't mean like we know we've already won. We know we've won. We know there's more of us than there are them, whatever. But once it's all settled and people are healing and whatnot, these kids still need to go into their life without tunnel vision. They need to be able to recognize the patterns and, they need to know what to do to make sure it's stopped dead in its tracks. So I think that's going to be my next goal. That's my next goal. We're getting the kids involved, hardcore.
University of the streets right now. There's so many people out there that are educating us on farming and community and law. I'm taking David Lindsay's law, his common law class right now. He's got a series of videos. Oh my gosh, I'll have to try and figure out what his website is. It's common law something or other, but his law classes are phenomenal. And David's, he's been helping me on the back end with all of the fines that I was dealing with and stuff. And it's just, there's so many people out there that are helping on that back end level. University of the streets is where it's at. get out of school, learn from a conspiracy theorist friend near you, because that's where you're going to get your real truth.
One of
Well,
my friends just text too. She's awesome. She's in the States. She discovered sulfur. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher this one. I'm sorry. Sulforaphane, serious anti-inflammatory. There's a specific brand called Brosolite. John Hopkins is using an in-house formula, but over-the-counter made here in Charlottesville is amazing. So, thanks, my friend. I can see you replying. Thank you. I didn't butcher it. Anyways, sulforaphane.
yeah. Well, there's lots of stuff out there. And I mean, we don't have to go, we can go down this road too, I think a little more in depth when Tanya comes back on with us, being that she's a herbalist, and we are missing her this evening. She had something come up last minute and she couldn't make it. I saw someone in the comments asking where she was. So but you know what? There's also really simple things that people can do aside from supplements, which is an anti-inflammatory diet.
Mm-hmm.
That is no gluten, no dairy, no sugar. And, eating whole foods as much as possible. That will cut down inflammation a lot. And then there's also doing things like a liver gallbladder flush, which I just did my very first one, which was very interesting these last 24 hours. I will tell you that. And, you don't realize what is sitting inside your body until you start going down this route. And I've never done it. So this was my first time. And I'm telling you, I was floored at how many stones I passed just from this one flush. So you can only imagine that if your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder, if they're overloaded with toxins, and that pretty much everybody has some type of toxin with everything they spray, all of our food, all the GMO, all that kind of stuff. This is where I think the best thing that anybody can do for themselves, whether you're jabbed or unjabbed, doesn't really matter, is, start doing things to keep your inflammation down, start doing flushes to clean your kidneys out, clean your liver out, clean your gallbladder out, so that your body's got an even better chance. And then when you take all these supplements, these organs can actually process them properly.
Well, and
right?
just to, oh gosh, Chris is
Thanks, Chris.
Where's Chris? There you go.
And Alicia and I have both been doing this cleanse probably since before Christmas. We kind of we started doing the antifungal diet, and just to play off of what you're talking about there too, Alicia, because one of the things that's really important if anybody's thinking about going down that way, and we all do need to detox. And Alicia and I were both saying too, like, it's surprising how much you are passing, because both of us live a pretty clean lifestyle. Like, I take
absolutely
a ton of supplements. We've both been seeing a naturopath that's been doing live hair analysis. And, so we can see what we're deficient in. We can see the myotoxins, the parasites, the, all of these different things that we have going on. And it's shocking because neither one of us drink very much. Neither one of us do drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us, like, we both eat relatively healthy. Like, I eat as much organic as I can possibly buy at the grocery store. And granted, probably 70% of it isn't really where you're putting your dollars. It's probably fake organic. It's probably just a label, but I do what I can to try and buy as much as I can. And I try and buy local when I can. And I try and grow as much as I can in the summertime. So with all of that, and I just know that I've got some health things going on. You've got some health things, that aren't perfect. And it's just like it's always been surprising for me that I've been one of my healthiest people that I know in my social circle. And yet I've got stuff that's going on, that I didn't even dream of. So when you are doing a cleanse, a couple of things: you want to start with an antifungal diet for a while, hydrocolon therapy and coffee enemas, so that you can clean out the lower intestines. And then you can go into like a liver gallbladder cleanse, which is like a Epsom salt, and then followed up with a nice big olive oil. Follow us for more.
and make sure that they call it an antifungal or anti-inflammatory, that you do that minimum 30 days.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So 30 days. then do some colonics. And you can do it at home. You don't have to go somewhere. Coffee enemas, you can do it like, a couple of times before you do that flush. And then you do that liver gallbladder flush once a month until you're no longer passing stones. And then you can do it.
Backing up, like when you do your liver gallbladder cleanse, which is your liver literally holds on to so much stuff. It holds your vitamins, it holds your toxins, it dictates where disease goes. So you need to make sure that that lower intestine area is all cleaned out, so that when you are releasing from your actual liver, that it's not being backed up and then tossed back into your body in other ways.
So I'm only smiling because I'm just going to share because, hey, screw it. We're already talking about this stuff anyways. So after my passing of stones, and by the way, everyone, I passed probably about 30 stones, which is just mind blowing. I had to do you have to do a coffee enema, usually the following day, and holy Hannah parasites. Wow. Mm-hmm. I'm not joking. Like holy Hannah parasite. Wow. And that just like, what parasites can do to the body, right? It just eats all the nutrients, it's just all of the above. So that's what everybody really should be doing. They really, really should be doing this stuff to keep themselves.
You mentioned that you were going to do like a parasite diet, a parasite cleanse afterwards anyways as well. I mean, I know that the liver gallbladder cleanse does do part of that, but are you going to still go and take a round of Viber and stuff?
100% for sure. But the fact of just doing a liver gallbladder flush, right? And it will also remove parasites from your liver and your gallbladder. That's where they're coming from, right? That's the whole point of that. So it's not just, like throughout every extremity in your body, those specific places. And today, just, when you do one of these flushes, you have to do an enema just because you have to clean yourself out of all the Epsom salt that you've taken, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that your colon is cleansed. And I'm just really floored, to be honest with you. Like I'm a very healthy person. Okay. Straight up. I've never really been a partier. It's shocking to me that I'm seeing what I'm seeing coming from a place that, like Danielle said, I don't really party. I'm not a big drinker. Like anybody who's known me my whole life, I've lived a pretty conservative lifestyle, even as a teen. So yeah.
Dennis is like hard no.
Come on, Dennis. You can do it. You can do it, Dennis.
Catherine, you were asking to see the picture of that vitamin supplement there again. So it's nattokinase. And there it is for you again. So that's a Now brand. I'm not particularly a huge fan of Now brand. I know more about their essential oils and stuff like that. So I find them to be a little bit of an inexpensive, cheap brand. So I would maybe see if there's another type of brand that's out there. Maybe check in with your local health food store and see what they say, or check in with Tanya, the herbalist too. She might have a few suggestions as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're missing a girl tonight.
I know.
Her little guy had a big bump on his head and had to go to the hospital and get checked out. So hopefully he's doing okay. We're thinking about him.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Awesome.
Well, ladies,
it's been an hour. It's 9:00. I must go to bed.
Yes, I know.
I'm gonna go for dinner. Nice.
Well, you have fun. I'm
glad
glad
you guys.
3 hours left.
Well, it was so lovely to catch up. Happy to see everybody. Yeah, and Miss Tanya, hopefully, will be on the next one, and we can reconvene because I'm wearing one of her shirts right now. You can see it. The cure is worse than the disease.
Nice.
And it's a great shirt, and so
I got the one that I gave you today.
Sorry, Debbie's posting well.ca for those of you. And for those of you that don't know, there's also an awesome organic only wholesale place called Organic Matters Foods. So it's omfoods.com. And it's out of Canada. I think it's in Alberta. And they ship all over the place. And that's where I get all my organic Epsom salts, organic baking soda. They've got
Organic Matters Foods. Is that .com?
Oh, it's omfoods.com. Organic Matters Foods. Yeah. I'll put it in here. Ready? Omfoods.com. They are my absolute favorite place to shop, and you can buy it in massive bulk if you want to.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I've never heard of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Nice.
Well, Truth Talk Tuesday kicked off. We'll
Yep.
hopefully see you guys here in the next little while, and have a great week, guys. Enjoy the rest of it.
Yes. Please
Love
do.
you all.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, everybody.